Progressives, this is your trigger warning. Hi, welcome back. And those that are new, welcome. Conservative people like ourselves and others that don't like the way things are being run in the country at the federal level have, I call it Charlie Brown the football. We've been promised, this time I won't pull the football out, go ahead. And of course, you know the story. Charlie Brown goes to kick it again and falls on his behind, and Lucy pulls the football out. And every time she convinces him, I won't do it this time, of course she does it. And that's kind of like the situation conservative people are in and Republicans. But this is somewhat encouraging, and I'm not sure how far we'll go, but I think it's worth looking at. Paulina Luna, she is a congresswoman from Florida, vows to force vote on Garland's arrest if DOJ doesn't follow through on contempt. Representative Luna told Fox Digital she is going to circulate a letter to colleagues after Wednesday's contempt vote. Now, I never thought that the House of Representatives had an enforcement branch when they send out warrants for contempt and such. But come to find out, there's two different kinds of contempt of Congress. And let's read on. And before we get in the article, I want to say thank you to all my new subscribers. This website is kind of pushing this channel down, so anything you can do to help out, whether it be subscribe, push the all notification button, or just watch videos all the way, or try to watch as much as you can so I get my watch hours up so I get monetized, I would greatly appreciate it. Now enough of the self-plug. Exclusive. Representative Paulina Luna from Florida vows to force a vote on Attorney General Garland's arrest if the Department of Justice fails to act on its criminal contempt resolution.
Release the Kraken! Release the Kraken!
Luna told Fox Digital on Tuesday evening that she planned to force a vote on her inherent contempt resolution. Now, inherent contempt, as you'll see in the article later, is not the same as contempt of Congress, i.e. when Obama's Attorney General refused to appear and they voted a contempt of Congress. Inherent contempt is much, much different. And as we read this story, you'll see why. As of right now, we fully intend to bring it, Luna's revealed. I don't really have much faith in the Department of Justice, and I don't think the American people do either. But we are trying to bring back a level playing field and show that, you know, there should be accountability all the way to the top. She added, if the DOJ won't do their jobs, we're going to do that for them. Now, here's the difference between contempt and inherent contempt. Inherent contempt differs from contempt resolution expected to come up for a vote Wednesday afternoon, whereas the latter would refer Garland to his own department for criminal charges. Inherent contempt, if passed, would direct the House Sergeant at Arms to arrest Garland himself. Now, let me highlight that. Inherent contempt, if passed, would direct the House of Sergeant at Arms to arrest Garland himself. Now, you're going to say, well, John, they'll never get the votes. Maybe that's true. But the fact of the matter is, it's going to put the Republican Congress members on notice. You can't play the middle of the road anymore. It's time to fish or cut bait. Now, those members that decide to be absent or vote present will be recorded that way. And with the presidential election and the House of Representatives all up for re-election, that puts them in a tough spot, especially the rhinos and the Republicans that are in purple, what I call purple districts. Luna said she would be circulating a letter among her colleagues on Wednesday explaining inherent contempt and the need for it. I'm very encouraged by this. Very encouraged. Will it happen? I don't know, but at least the rhinos and the deep state Republicans are going to be brought to the surface, so to speak. Now, everybody knows who they are, but they're going to have to vote one way or another. Now, will Speaker Johnson allow this to happen? Would he put himself in a position to get criticism from a good 40-50% of the Republican side because he won't allow the vote on inherent contempt? I don't know. Inherent contempt of Congress hasn't been done since the early 1900s. They must have done a lot of research to come up with this. And before that, it was pretty common practice, Luna said. I think that when you explain to people what inherent contempt of Congress is, and when they see that subpoenas are being ignored, and they are, Merrick, the Attorney General and Barack Obama ignored a appearance before the Congress, if you remember. They held them in contempt and nothing happened. They see that subpoenas are being ignored, and that seems to be a two-tiered system, justice system, which we're seeing nationally. Every single person is realizing that. I think that they will understand. Now, the two-tier justice system, just to give you an example, and there's many, Peter Navarro, a economic advisor to President Trump, and Steve Bannon, an advisor to President Trump. Peter Navarro is already in jail. Steve Bannon is supposed to report July 1st for 4 months. Miracle of miracles, just about due to come out with the election in November. Isn't that fascinating? Because Steve Bannon has a huge presence on social media, and of course, you know how it works. When somebody will rebroadcast your channel on Twitter, now X, and it gets all over the place and it spreads. Exponentially, other people see it, tens of millions. And they want Steve Bannon off the air, off the social media. He's on Rumble. He runs the channel called The War Room, if you want to check it out. They want him and his influence off the air. And the air in this case is social media and websites like Rumble. So he's going to be going to jail, and Peter Navarro is there now. What they did was they said to Congress, when they were subpoenaed for the January 6th committee, said, listen, President Trump hasn't waived his executive privilege yet, so I can't appear. And they said, no, we don't care. So they waited until after the date they were supposed to appear. Then President Trump released his executive privilege from Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon. And then they told Congress, okay, we'll report now because it's been waived. And they said, too bad you went past the date. They put Peter Navarro on shackles at an airport, and he's in jail right now. Federal prison. It's probably low security. That's besides the point. Steve Bannon was found guilty for the exact same thing that Merrick Garland is doing now, and he has to report to jail July 1st. That's what she means by a two-tier justice system, and there's dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of more people that are been incarcerated or have to stand trial because of it. Luna could force House leaders to take up her bill by deeming it privileged, which would mandate the House to act on it within 2 legislative days. When asked what she would do if the Wednesday vote was called off or delayed due to concerns from moderate Republicans, Luna said she would defer to the leadership schedule. Now, how much patience she's going to have for that, I don't know. And there she is there. Oh, she's sharp as hell. I like her a lot. I'm going to wait for the vote to happen the way that leadership wants it to happen, with a criminal contempt. And then after that, we'll start the clock on our stuff. House Republicans are aiming to hold Garland in contempt for refusing to turn over the audio recordings of special counsel Robert Hur's interviews with President Biden. Now, they did send out a transcript. Nobody believes that it wasn't altered. An audio tape of the interview, you would get the stumbling and fumbling and forgetting and uhs and so you don't get that in a transcript. It's like reading a really good speech by a great public speaker. Unless you hear the audio of the person's voice, it doesn't have the same impact or meaning as a transcript does. Now, they're afraid to send those audio tapes out of Biden being interviewed by special counsel Mr. Hur, because he's going to look like a dope. I call him Mr. Magoo. So just a transcript went out. Now, nobody knows how much of that transcript was altered. 2 lines or 100 lines, because he's interviewed for several hours. That's what they want to find out. And, of course, the more the Democrats fight it, in this case, Merrick Garland, saying it's not proper for Congress to get that, it's not his choice to make, tells me there's something in there that, I'll put Garland there with Representative Luna, there's something in there the Democrats don't want out. Wow, I wish it had leaked by now, but oh well. But there's something in there. They're desperate not to get out. And the more they fight it, the more normal people with two brain cells touching knows that it's very, very damaging to Biden. And he's slipping in the polls, even after the Trump conviction. They painted themselves in the corner concerning Trump and that trial in New York. What will the judge do? Now, he's trying to, like crazy, there was a post on Twitter, now X, saying that he was cousins of one of the jurors, and the day before, they read the verdict saying Trump was going to be found guilty, which they didn't know. So she, whoever that person is, discussed the trial with her cousin. Now, Merrick Merchant, the judge, who's as twisted as they come, put out a letter to both the defense and the prosecution saying this happened, he's going to check into it. I think they're looking for a mistrial. That way they can say convicted felon, but not continue. They're seeing it's not working. Now, usually Democrats just double down. Maybe they'll smarten up and just walk away. But as you saw in the last week or two, everything out of every other out of their mouth is convicted felon Trump, convicted felon Trump, convicted felon Trump. They want him in that orange jumpsuit in the picture. That's what they want, and they're not going to get it. So convicted felon is the best they're going to do. And they see the polls are slipping, and they don't dare release this audio tape. So Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, the highest-ranking law enforcement officer in the country, ignored a request from the House of Representatives to get the audio tape. He gave some mumbo-jumbo about the integrity of DOJ and blah, blah, blah. It's like Charlie Brown, the adults, wah, 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 wah. So now Luna's stepping up. Why is it that the only backbone, or should I say balls, that the Republicans have in the House of Representatives are women? Women seem to have the balls. Maybe some of the women could loan their balls to some of the other Republican men. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. We'll see what Speaker Johnson does, and we'll see if they pass an inherent contempt. The Sergeant at Arms has to, by law, go along with what the House says. In this case, arrest Merrick Garland. So he'll hide, since they only have jurisdiction in the Washington, D.C. Proper. Will he not? Will he avoid Washington, D.C. until the November election? Who the hell knows? But I'm going to praise Representative Luna for at least trying. She can't do it all. We'll see what happens. And I'm very encouraged. I'm not Charlie Brown with a football. I think this one might get some legs, or at least put the fear of God in some of these people, that the next time you ignore a congressional subpoena, you will be held in contempt, and we will come and arrest you, and we will put you on trial. Fingers crossed. Say some prayers. Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!